When I was 19, I was assaulted at a party by an older woman. Today, the child of that assault tried to contact me. I, 37M, have a biological child who I've never seen, 17F, wanting to make contact, which I don't want, but my family does. What should I do here? When I was 19, I was assaulted by an older colleague, 34F, after a works night out, and she got pregnant. It didn't go anywhere legally, as it was my word against hers, and she had the kid. Sadly, as there's no proof it wasn't consensual, I had to pay child maintenance until the child was 16. Obviously, as it was a product of what happened to me, I wanted nothing to do with it. Told her to raise her assault baby herself. The woman died, not sorry about it, a couple of years back, and I've not heard anything about the kid since, so I had no idea what was going on other than my maintenance stopping. Which was a relief because I finally felt like a millstone had been lifted from around my neck. Because of what happened, I never have been in relationships because of the issues it's caused me, and I haven't got any kids or anything like that, so I feel like I can start living a bit. I was brought down to earth a bit last month when my mom said the kid got in touch with her on social media and asked about me, my family, and told them she was living with her grandparents herself after her mom died, until they both died themselves, so she's not got anyone now. Now my mom is one of these people with a massive soft spot for kids, young people, so feels sorry for her. I told her I don't feel comfortable with her being in touch with us, and I want nothing to do with her, so keep her away from me. She seemed upset, but I thought she accepted it. I will say throughout it all since then, my parents have been an absolute rock. They were some of the only people to support me, and I couldn't have done it without them. So I was talking to my mom at the weekend, and she admitted to me that she's not only kept in touch with the kid, but she had met them the week before, and they didn't tell me. Basically, they feel really bad for her because of the life she's had and are starting to enjoy her being in their life. Not only that, she's been asking about me and what happened and wants to meet me to talk and ask me questions. Obviously, I'm upset about it. I not only had to go for going against my wishes, but for betraying my trust like that. She said it's hard for her and my dad, because of the way I've been, never had any kids or anything. They have always been sad that they'll never have a grandchild, and this may be their only chance. She also told me she thinks I'm being out of order, taking it out on an innocent child who didn't ask for this, and could at least meet her to talk. I've said no and not spoken since, which is hard because I normally ring my folks twice a day, and my mom keeps on trying to ring me. I don't know what to do. I obviously don't want to be cruel, but that kid is a reminder of what happened to me, and I am just angry she's coming back into my life now when I thought it could be over. And how could my parents do this to me when they know how I feel? As it stands, I have no desire to meet her, and don't see the good that could come from it. But I don't want to lose my parents either. What should I do? Edit. So I spoke to my mom today. She's still insistent on having a relationship with her. I said she can, but tell her I do not want to meet her at all and won't do it all. Would you believe my folks are actually intending on her coming over and having Christmas dinner with us? I basically said if they do that, I'm not going. Important edit. I get people disagreeing with my parents' actions, but do not be disrespectful of them or call them names, please. Despite this, they're wonderful people, and were the only people who have ever had my back throughout. Thank you. Update 1. I am male. Can you please stop assuming I was a woman just because I was assaulted? So much went on since my last post. I spoke to my parents. I basically laid out exactly why I didn't want contact with her. I explained it's not a personal thing, but rather she is to me the living embodiment of my assaulter, and that if I were to have contact, I feel it would make me relive it all over again. I reassured them they can have contact with her, and I won't stop it, but to stop trying to force me. They obviously agree with me, and said they'll respect my wishes. With regards to Christmas, as it stands, she'll go for Christmas Day, and I won't, and I'll go for Boxing Day. My parents are upset because it means I'll be completely on my own Christmas Day. I also wrote her a letter and gave it to them. I wasn't mean or anything to her, but I explained exactly why I didn't want contact and how being in touch with her would make me feel, and that until I get better, I didn't want contact and asked her to respect that. My folks gave it to her and she read it while she was at their house. My mom told me she broke down crying and was really upset, obviously had no idea what happened. She asked them if they'd let her have some paper and write me a letter back, and she did. They gave it to me. Initially, I went mad that they did give it to me because I felt like they didn't respect what I'd said, but they begged me to read it, so I did. And God, I'm now confused. The letter was sweet, for want of a better word. She admitted in it that she had no idea and apologized to me. And that hurt, that she felt like she had to apologize. She also said she'd respect my wishes, but gave her contact details and said if I ever wanted to speak to her, she'd be there for me. She also slipped a little passport photo of her in it, which is the first time I've ever seen her and what she looks like. It's weird because before this she was just a thing. I could ignore her. But reading that, she became real. She has a little girl's handwriting. I felt like I could feel her pain in the letter. And seeing her photo, she's a kid. Doesn't look like me, but really looks like my dad, but with her mom's hair and eye color. But she does look sad in it. I didn't say anything to my parents about it, but I'm now really fudging confused. I know I shouldn't have contact with her, and still don't want it for all the reasons I've said before. It's not good for me, and also I don't think for her. But I realize I don't hate her, or am angry at her at all. I don't want her to feel guilty about her horrible mother. And now I see she's a person. God, it's fudged up. I don't know what's going to happen. Edit. So I just sent my mom a message asking her to say to her that I read her letter and that I don't want her to feel that she has to apologize because she's done nothing wrong. She's replied back saying she will. I think she deserves to know that at least. Update 2. So basically I've decided to go to my parents' house at Christmas, when she's going to be there, and meet her. I honestly just decided it today. I've been talking to my mom about it all weekend and the past few days, and the more we talk openly, it has made everything seem a bit more clear. I have worked out that despite the history attached, and no matter our biology, she's just a little girl. So today, I was talking to my mom on my lunch break, and we were discussing Christmas, and how we'd do it logistically, as at this point, I was only going Boxing Day. When my mom mentioned Christmas dinner and playing me one up to warm up and eat at home, I just realized what's the point of avoiding everyone and sitting at home getting pissed and playing my PC with only my fish for company. So I went something like, yeah, fuck it, get enough for me, and I'm coming Christmas Day too. She thought I was joking. When she realized I wasn't, I could tell in the tone of voice she was thrilled. She asked me if I realized the kid's still going, and I said I do. She asked me how I feel. I said honestly I don't want to think about all that. I just want to go Christmas Day and spend it with my family. And if a young girl's there, I'll just be polite and respectful and treat her how I would any lonely young woman on Christmas Day. I asked her to let her know and text her and see if she's also okay with that. She did, and in the short space of time on my call she got back to my mom really happy, saying of course it is and can't believe it. So that's it. I'm going. My mom texted me earlier saying she's, "Mom, so happy I'm coming and doesn't have to worry about me being on my own anymore." I sat there this afternoon feeling a bit relieved. And I'm also absolutely bloody terrified, but not in a bad way. More of a facing something uncertain way. Am I nuts? A week ago I posted and was acting like I would rather cut contact with everyone. Now I don't really know what I feel. I'm thinking of writing her another letter too. Nothing serious, just a bit about me to introduce myself and maybe ask her for one back. Would that be a nice thing to do? Too much? I mean, obviously I might panic and cancel last minute knowing how flaky I can be, but I hope not. Edit. Thanks to the great suggestion from one of you guys, I've set up a new email address solely for the purpose of her and I to communicate, so it saves us both having to write letters and wait. My mom's got her email for me, so I'm in the process of drafting an email. Fudging hell, I've spent hours in the past week communicating with strangers all over the world online, but do you think I know what to say in an email to a teenage girl living not too far away from me? I'm absolutely blank. Update 3. I, 37M, have a daughter. So what now? What does someone in my position do? Me and my daughter have been corresponding through email this last few days a lot. It feels like hundreds of emails and getting to know each other. Even though it's been weird, I have really enjoyed it. She's a lovely kid, and I genuinely like her. So this afternoon we were chatting and I signed off my email, "Love Dad," without thinking. And she messaged me back, "Dad, you mean it?" And I was like, "I suppose I do." I haven't heard from her since because she's working today, but I keep on thinking about it. In fact, she texted me a couple of minutes ago with a smiling emoji and a love heart. I responded the same. I was so scared to embrace her. To me, a couple of weeks ago, she was just my assaulter's baby. Now, I acknowledged she's mine. Like I'm her dad. She's my daughter. I wouldn't say love is the right word, but she's mine. If someone asked me if I had a kid, I'd say I do. I don't know how I feel about it on an emotional level. I don't have this warm paternal feeling like I think people probably do, but at the same time, I know she's mine, even though we've never met. But at the same time, I feel I want to meet her before Christmas. I don't know if I can wait, even if we have a video message. I'm going to video call her tomorrow. Fudge me, I'm really nervous, really. Update 4. I had the video call with my daughter, 17F, yesterday evening. Leading up to it, I was a ball of nerves. I wasn't sure what to expect or how it would go, but I knew I had to take this step. My mom had helped set it up and reassured me that everything would be fine. She reminded me to just be myself and take it one step at a time. When the call connected, I saw her face on the screen, and it was like a wave of emotions hit me. She smiled nervously, and I could see the same apprehension in her eyes that I felt. I managed to muster a smile back and we both laughed a little, probably more out of relief than anything else. The conversation started off a bit awkwardly, as you'd expect. We talked about simple things at first: school, her job, my work, and what we both like to do in our spare time. She told me she enjoys reading and wants to go to university to study literature. Hearing her talk about her passions made me feel a connection to her, despite everything. One moment that stood out was when she showed me a photo album she had found at her grandparents' house. It had pictures of her as a baby and growing up. She hesitated before showing it to me, worried it might upset me, but I told her I wanted to see. As she flipped through the pages, I felt a strange mix of sadness and pride. Sadness for all the moments I missed, but pride in seeing how strong and resilient she is. Towards the end of the call, she asked me more about myself. She wanted to know what my childhood was like, what my favorite memories were, and what kind of person I am. It was hard at first, but I opened up. I told her about my own struggles and triumphs, and she listened intently. We ended the call on a positive note. She thanked me for talking to her and said she was looking forward to meeting me in person. I told her I felt the same way. After we hung up, I sat there for a while, processing everything. It felt surreal, but also right. This experience has been a roller coaster, but I'm starting to see a path forward. I know it won't be easy, and there will be many challenges ahead, but I feel a bit more hopeful now. I'm starting to see her as my daughter, not just the product of a traumatic event. I realize this journey is as much about healing for me as it is about building a relationship with her. For now, we've decided to keep our communication going through emails and video calls. It's a slow process, but it feels like the right pace for both of us. I'm still planning to meet her in person at Christmas, and we've agreed to take it one step at a time. Update 5. It's been a few weeks since my last update, and a lot has happened. The video calls with my daughter, 17F, have become a regular thing. We've been talking almost every evening, and it's starting to feel more natural. We've shared a lot about our lives, our interests, and our thoughts. I've even started telling her some funny stories about my childhood, and she loves hearing about the trouble I used to get into with my friends. One of the biggest developments is that we've decided to meet in person before Christmas. It was her idea, and I felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety about it. My parents were thrilled when I told them, and they offered to host the meeting at their house to make it more comfortable for both of us. We agreed on a date, and I've been trying to mentally prepare myself for it. On the day of the meeting, I felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. My parents were there to support me, and they kept reassuring me that everything would be fine. When she arrived, I was struck by how different it felt to see her in person. She looked a bit like the photos she had sent, but seeing her smile and hearing her laugh in person was completely different. The first few minutes were awkward, but then my mom suggested we all sit down and have some tea and cake. That seemed to break the ice, and soon we were talking more comfortably. She told me about a book she was reading and her plans for university. I shared more about my work and hobbies. We found common ground in our love for music, and she laughed when I told her about my terrible attempts at learning the guitar when I was younger. There was a moment when we were alone in the living room, and she looked at me seriously and said, "I'm really glad we're doing this." I felt a lump in my throat and just nodded, not trusting myself to speak. It was a simple moment, but it felt significant. After she left, I felt a sense of relief and accomplishment. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. I realized that this relationship would take time and effort, but it was worth it. My parents were ecstatic and kept telling me how proud they were of both of us. Since that meeting, our video calls and emails have continued, and they feel more meaningful now. We've even started planning some activities we can do together over the holidays. She wants to show me her favorite cafe, and I promised to take her to a local museum I love. Update 6. Hey everyone, it's been another few weeks, and I wanted to share some more updates on my journey with my daughter, 17F. Since our initial meeting, things have progressed in ways I hadn't expected but have brought a lot of positivity into my life. Firstly, our relationship has continued to grow. We've been meeting up regularly, not just for video calls, but in person. We visited the cafe she loves, and as promised, I took her to the museum. Those outings have been great for both of us to get to know each other better. We've laughed a lot, shared more personal stories, and she's even shown me some of her favorite spots around town. It's like discovering a whole new side of life that I didn't know I was missing. One of the most heartwarming moments came when she introduced me to her friends. They were all very welcoming and seemed genuinely happy to meet me. It was a bit surreal, but seeing her in her element, surrounded by people who care about her, made me realize how much she's grown into her own person, despite everything. Our Christmas plans have solidified, and I'm actually looking forward to it. We're all going to spend Christmas Day together at my parents' house. My mom has been planning everything meticulously, and it's clear she's over the moon about having a full house. My daughter and I have been talking about what we want to do, and it's shaping up to be a really special day. We're planning to decorate the tree together and maybe even do some baking, which she loves. In a recent conversation, my daughter opened up about her life more deeply. She talked about the loss of her grandparents and how it affected her. It was a tough conversation, but I felt honored that she trusted me enough to share it. I listened and offered my support, and in turn, she asked more about my experiences, including the assault. It was difficult, but I was honest with her. I told her about the impact it had on my life and my fears. She responded with so much empathy and understanding that it was overwhelming. One unexpected but welcome development has been the change in my own outlook on relationships. For so long, I avoided them because of my past, but my daughter has shown me that connections with others can be healing rather than harmful. I've started therapy again, not just to deal with the trauma, but to open myself up to the possibility of forming other meaningful relationships in the future. It's still early days, but I feel more hopeful. One last thing to share is that my daughter and I have decided to take a trip together in the new year. It's something we've both been excited about, a chance to spend more time together and create new memories. We're planning to visit a city she's always wanted to see, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it with her. Update 7. Hi everyone, I'm back with another update. The last few weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions and events, and I wanted to share what's been happening. Christmas Day was nothing short of incredible. I arrived at my parents' house early to help with the preparations, and the atmosphere was filled with excitement and warmth. When my daughter, 17F, arrived, she looked both nervous and happy. We greeted each other with a hug, which felt surprisingly natural and comforting. Decorating the tree together was a highlight. We laughed as we untangled lights and shared stories about our favorite holiday memories. My parents were overjoyed, and there was a genuine sense of family in the air. Dinner was delicious, and we spent hours around the table talking and enjoying each other's company. My daughter even brought a homemade dessert, which was a big hit. After dinner, we exchanged gifts. I had been unsure about what to get her, but with some guidance from my mom, I picked out a few thoughtful items that she loved. She surprised me with a framed photo of us from one of our outings, along with a heartfelt letter. Reading it brought tears to my eyes. It was full of gratitude, love, and hope for our future together. One of the most poignant moments came when we all sat by the fire, and my daughter asked to hear more about my childhood. Sharing those memories in such a cozy setting, surrounded by the people I care about, felt incredibly healing. It was as if we were creating new, positive memories to help overshadow the painful ones from the past. After Christmas, my daughter and I continued to spend more time together. Our bond has grown stronger, and I find myself looking forward to our conversations and outings. We even started a new tradition of going for long walks on Sunday mornings, which has become a cherished time for both of us. The trip we planned for the new year is coming up soon, and we're both excited about it. We're heading to a city she loves, and we have a list of places to visit and things to do. It's the first trip I've taken with someone in a long time, and it feels like a significant step forward. Therapy has been going well too. I've been working through my feelings about the past and learning how to open up more. My therapist has helped me see that while the trauma will always be a part of my story, it doesn't have to define my future. My daughter has been incredibly supportive, and her presence in my life has been a huge motivator for my healing. A couple of days ago, I received an email from my daughter that touched me deeply. She wrote about how much our relationship means to her and how she's grateful to have me in her life. She also mentioned that she's planning to apply to a university close to where I live, so we can continue to build our relationship. Reading her words filled me with a sense of purpose and hope.